we'll get into the rest of the West. This is a segment that I kind of fell off of a little bit just because, you know what? This is Rams Showcase, not NFC West Showcase. Screw those other teams, all right? We want them to fail, all right? We want them to not do good jobs. That's as aggressive as I'll get. But let's take a look, all right? So we'll start with the Seattle Seahawks because this is the big one. This is the big story that's happening right now. All right, so Russell Wilson comes out on Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick, lots of love. One of my heroes. And he's basically, he just kind of lets it leak out just a touch that he's a little unhappy in Seattle. All right. He's, Schottenheimer, who has now been fired. Rams fans remember hashtag fire Schotty. It was very popular amongst Rams fans. And that kind of started a trend in Seattle as well. The common denominator is Schottenheimer. So, whatever I got to do with that information. But Russell Wilson, he let it kind of be known, like, hey, I'm getting hit too much. I don't have any say in the offense, and I don't like those facts. Hard to blame him there. Hard to blame him. So it's becoming evident that the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson have a little bit of a strained relationship, all right? And we can all see that that's happening. We can all tell that he's unhappy because he's been very quiet. He's ended every press conference, and every time he talks to any media, he ends it with "Go Hawks." That's going to change, I think. I think we see a change. I don't know where he goes. My original prediction was Colts, but now they have Wentz, so I don't think that happens. I don't think that the Colts package Wentz. It's possible, I guess, but I don't think that that's necessarily something that happens. So it looks like Russ wants out. He wants out of Seattle, it looks like, and I think that they might be willing to oblige. I think that they might be willing to let that happen. And if this happens, I think that the Seahawks fight for third place. Russell Wilson is the best player that franchise has ever seen. Ever. He's the reason they're relevant. He's the reason they won the Super Bowl. He's the reason they went to that other one. He threw a pick to end that one, but that was more play call than Russ specifically. But per Mike Silver, if you guys know Mike Silver, he's the sassiest person on Twitter. That's the only word that I feel like is appropriate for Mike Silver is sassy. The asking price, that's not a shot, by the way. I love Mike Silver. He's one of my favorite follows. But Mike Silver, he's saying that the asking price reportedly starts at 3 first-round picks. That is not unrealistic. The Rams just shipped off the number 1 overall pick and 2 firsts for Matt Stafford. This is absolutely possible. Jets? Possible. Could we see something with Houston maybe? Deshaun Watson packaged in? Very possible. There are teams that can afford to give up 3-1s, that are willing to afford to give up 3-1s. Every team can afford to give up 3-1s. The Rams can give away 3-1s. You want 25, 25? You want, 24, 25, 26 first-round picks? Yeah, do it. If it's the right player, I think the Rams would absolutely be willing to push that out. What would that give us? 10 years without a first-round pick? That'd be fine. The Jets, prime, they could do that today. I think that would be a strong move for the Jets. Either way, it's not unrealistic that this could happen, all right? From the Rams' perspective, I think this would crush Seattle. I think it would crush them. It would crush their franchise because he is what's holding them together. The Seahawks are this weird little puzzle that's like kind of falling apart a little bit, but there's the gorilla glue, which is Russell Wilson holding this thing together. And I think if you get rid of that, I think there's too many loose pieces on that roster and on the coaching staff that I think it all crumbles down. Wilson, like I said, he's the best player that franchise has ever seen. They've seen some really good ones. Sean Alexander would be way up there as well. You can include Richard Sherman if you want to. I will not. I think Earl Thomas I would put up there. They've had some really, really good linebackers. Wagner's really good. You could look, like I said, you could look back to, you could go way back to like the Largent days and all that, but I think that I don't really think it's that up to that much debate. Sean Alexander would be, I think, a legitimate debate, but I think Russell Wilson is the best player that franchise has ever seen. Maybe Marshawn Lynch you could throw in there as well, but I would say Russ is the best. So, God, I hate saying that. I respect the hell out of Russell Wilson though, man. there's at least one player on every team that I have the utmost respect for and am like kind of a fan of. And for the Seahawks, that's Russell Wilson. I'm not a Seahawks fan by any means, but Russell Wilson, it's hard just not to respect him. He works hard. He plays amazing. He's a great guy. There's not a lot to hate about him, but I think he's what holds that team together right now. I don't think it's Carroll. I don't think it's Pete Carroll. I think it's Russell Wilson. And they refuse to help him. They refuse to give him offensive line help. They refuse to really give him weapons. You can say DK Metcalf now, but I think that even when they took him, I don't think that they knew what he was going to turn into. And then he doesn't get to participate in running the offense. He just has to do what's called. And, maybe that's going to change now, but it doesn't sound like it, because it sounds like Russell Wilson's coming out and saying this stuff because he was maybe hoping that Schottenheimer leaving was like, oh, man, now I can maybe get a say in the offense. And then Pete Carroll maybe said no. And now it's like, okay, well, then just let me go somewhere else where I can actually play some ball then, And Russell Wilson, I think when he can actually control it, it's going to be really, really exciting to watch. Hopefully it's an AFC team. I won't be sad to watch Russell Wilson not play against the Rams 2 times a year. I'll tell you that much. But I truly do think that if he gets his wish and gets a new team, I think the Seahawks are fighting for third place. I think that's their battle, is the third place spot. Let's take a look at the 49ers. 49ers, they're still unsure at their quarterback position. So we could see, obviously, the Rams changed quarterbacks. The Seahawks could be changing quarterbacks, are likely to change quarterbacks. A team that's a little bit less likely to change quarterbacks, but it's in the conversation, is the San Francisco 49ers. They still don't know what they're going to do at their quarterback position, but it does feel like the more we don't hear anything out of San Francisco, the more that it feels like they'll continue to just roll with Garoppolo and just kind of let that ride. Did my video get really bright? I feel like it's really bright. It's too far away from me. I feel I'm way back here, guys. I can't really tell. But it feels like the longer that we don't hear anything from San Francisco, the more it feels like they're just going to go ahead and keep Jimmy. But they could make a splash. I don't think it's really possible. There's still word about Deshaun Watson maybe going to the 49ers. I don't think that happens. I think Watson actually goes to the Panthers. I think that feels like it's real. It feels like the Panthers are ready and willing to make the move and give what the Texans are asking for. And maybe Christian McCaffrey. I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's pretty weird out there for the 49ers, but they could see a coaching change or a quarterback change as well. Not a coaching change. That's not going to happen. Speaking of coaching changes, though, the Arizona Cardinals. There is no major news to report from the Arizona Cardinals, but I think it's relevant to let it be known that if the Cardinals miss the playoffs again or have another, like they did in the 2020 season, where they had a big stretch where they were playing like absolute crap, then I really think that Cliff Kingsbury, his seat's getting a little warm, all right? And I think with every loss, it gets just a touch warmer, just a little bit warmer. And the more that Kyler Murray, because he did improve year 1 to year 2, which doesn't always happen for quarterbacks, especially going into that sophomore season, that's helpful. The move for DeAndre Hopkins, that's helpful. The defense, not very good. That does not help. But also, I mean, what are they doing that's exciting? I think that every loss that the Arizona Cardinals accumulate, I think that Cliff Kingsbury's seat gets a little bit warm. He's tied to Kyler Murray. We know that. So it really, I think, depends on Kyler Murray's season. If Kyler Murray comes in and at least he's doing his job and doing a lot of really good things, then I think that does play a big role in Cliff Kingsbury's future as the Cardinals head coach. But I kind of, if I had to put some money on it, which I don't have to, but, maybe I will, I would say that Kingsbury is the next NFC West coach that's out, which I don't think is that actually big of a stretch. Maybe this year, too. Maybe that's what I'll say, because saying that Kingsbury is the next NFC West coach out, I think that's too easy, actually. Now that I say it out loud, I think that's too easy. I'm going to say maybe this year that he's out.